Imagine this, your own parents, the people who raised you, hauling you into court because you won't sell your dream apartment to bail out your sister's messy divorce. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to me, and let me tell you, I didn't just roll over, I fought back and taught them a lesson they'd never forget. Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and this is my wild story of family betrayal, legal battles, and sweet, sweet justice. It all started a few years back when I was grinding away at my job as a software engineer. I saved every penny, skipped vacations, and finally bought this cozy apartment in the city. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine, my first real piece of independence after growing up in a chaotic household. My parents, well, they've always favored my older sister, Lisa. She's the golden child, you know. Always getting into trouble, but Mom and Dad would swoop in to fix it. Lisa married young, had 2 kids, but her husband turned out to be a cheater. When the divorce hit, it was ugly. She needed money for lawyers, alimony fights, and starting over. But instead of helping her budget or find a job, my parents decided I should foot the bill. One evening, they called me over for dinner. I thought it was just a family catch-up, but nope. They sat me down and said, "Alex, you need to sell your apartment. Lisa's in a tough spot, and family comes first." I was stunned. Sell my home? The place I worked so hard for? No way. I told them politely that I loved Lisa, but this was her mess, not mine. I offered to help in other ways, like babysitting the kids or giving advice, but selling? Absolutely not. They got angry, saying I was selfish, that blood is thicker than water. Dad even yelled, "We raised you better than this." But I stood my ground. Little did I know, that was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, the pressure ramped up. Mom would call crying, saying Lisa might lose custody if she couldn't afford a good lawyer. Dad sent texts guilt-tripping me about how they sacrificed for us kids. Lisa herself chimed in, accusing me of not caring about her or the nieces and nephews. It hurt, but I knew enabling her wasn't helping anyone. Then, things escalated. They started hinting at legal action, saying the apartment was partly theirs because they helped with my education. Wait, what? They gave me a small loan for college, which I paid back years ago. But in their minds, that entitled them to my assets. I tried to reason, explaining how the real estate market was booming and selling now would set me back financially. But they wouldn't listen. It felt like my achievements were just a family piggy bank. As the arguments heated up, I started digging into why Lisa's divorce was so expensive. Turns out, she had secrets, gambling debts, hidden affairs of her own. My parents knew but covered it up. That's when I realized this wasn't just about money, it was about control. They saw me as the responsible one, the ATM for their mistakes. I began documenting everything, emails, texts, even recording calls where they pressured me. I didn't know it yet, but that would come in handy. Stay tuned, because when they actually sued me, that's when the real fireworks started. So, after weeks of non-stop guilt trips and arguments, my parents dropped the bomb. They filed a lawsuit against me. Yeah, you heard that right. My own flesh and blood took me to court, claiming I owed them for family support and that refusing to sell the apartment was breaching some made-up moral contract. The papers arrived one rainy afternoon, and I just stared at them in disbelief. The claim? They wanted a court order forcing me to sell and give the proceeds to Lisa for her divorce settlement. They even argued that since they co-signed on my student loans back in the day, which, again, I repaid, they had a stake in my property. It was ridiculous, but it scared me. I wasn't rich, hiring a lawyer would drain my savings. But I couldn't let them win. I called a friend who's an attorney, and he laughed at first, thinking it was a joke. When he realized it was real, he said, "Alex, this is nuts, but we can fight it." We started preparing my defense, gathering proof of my financial independence. Meanwhile, the family drama exploded. Lisa posted vague social media rants about ungrateful siblings, and relatives started picking sides. Some aunts and uncles called me heartless, while others whispered that my parents were out of line. It tore the family apart, but I refused to back down. As we dug deeper, red flags popped up. My credit score suddenly dipped, and when I checked, there were unauthorized loans in my name, tens of thousands of dollars. Who did it? You guessed it, my parents and Lisa. They forged my signature to borrow money for her legal fees, thinking I'd never notice. Identity theft, plain and simple. I was furious. How could they betray me like that? I confronted them, and they denied it at first, then admitted it was just temporary to help Lisa. Temporary? It ruined my credit. That's when I decided enough was enough. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I filed a police report for fraud and added a countersuit to their lawsuit. My lawyer was thrilled. This turned their weak case into a slam dunk for me. But it wasn't just about winning, it was about exposing the truth. Lisa's divorce wasn't just about her husband's cheating, she had a gambling addiction that racked up debts, and my parents enabled it for years. They hid it from everyone, including me. I started collecting evidence, bank statements, witness testimonies from friends who knew about Lisa's habits, even emails where Mom begged me not to tell anyone. The more I uncovered, the angrier I got. This wasn't family love, it was toxic manipulation. As the court date approached, nerves kicked in. What if the judge sided with them? What if I lost everything? But I reminded myself, I earned that apartment through hard work, not handouts. They crossed a line, and now they'd face the consequences. The pre-trial meetings were tense. Their lawyer tried to settle, offering to drop the suit if I paid half of Lisa's costs. I said no. Why should I reward fraud? My parents looked shocked, like they never expected me to fight back. Dad muttered, "You're destroying the family," but I shot back, "You started this." It was empowering, finally standing up after years of being the reliable one they took advantage of. Little by little, the story spread, neighbors, co-workers, even online forums where I anonymously shared bits. Support poured in, reminding me I wasn't alone. This battle was teaching me boundaries, something I never learned growing up. Hang in there, the courtroom showdown is next, and it's juicy. Court day arrived, and let me tell you, it felt like stepping into a TV drama. The courthouse was cold and intimidating, with echoing hallways and stern security guards. I showed up in my best suit, heart pounding, flanked by my lawyer. My parents and Lisa were there too, looking smug at first, like they thought family ties would sway the judge. Their attorney painted me as the villain, a selfish son hoarding his wealth while his sister suffered. They trotted out emotional pleas, "Your Honor, family should support each other in times of need. Alex's refusal is tearing us apart." It stung hearing them twist the facts, but I stayed calm. When it was our turn, my lawyer unleashed the evidence like a pro. First, we debunked their claim on my apartment, proof of repaid loans, my solo mortgage payments. Then, the bombshell, the identity theft. We presented forged documents, credit reports showing the fraudulent loans, and even bank records linking the money to Lisa's divorce lawyers. The judge's eyebrows shot up. My parents squirmed in their seats, whispering frantically. Lisa burst into tears, but it wasn't sympathy she got, it was scrutiny. We didn't stop there. I took the stand and shared the full backstory in simple terms, how Lisa's gambling addiction fueled the divorce debts, how my parents covered it up and dragged me in. I had witnesses, a former friend of Lisa's who testified about seeing her at casinos, losing thousands. Emails from Mom admitting they borrowed my info for the greater good. The courtroom gasped. Their lawyer objected left and right, but the judge overruled most of it. Dad tried to interrupt, yelling, "This is private family business," but got shut down quick. It was clear, their lawsuit was baseless, built on lies and crime. As the day wore on, more dirt surfaced. Turns out, this wasn't the first time, they'd pulled similar stunts with other relatives, but no one fought back. An uncle even sent a statement supporting me, saying they'd pressured him too. The judge called a recess, and in the hallway, Mom approached me, eyes teary. Alex, please drop this. We're family. I looked her straight in the eye and said, family doesn't steal from each other. It broke my heart a bit, but I knew it was necessary. Back in session, my lawyer argued for not just dismissal, but damages for the fraud, emotional distress, credit repair costs, even punitive fees to teach them a lesson. The opposition crumbled. Lisa admitted under oath to the gambling, sobbing about how it spiraled out of control. Dad hung his head, mumbling excuses. The judge recessed again to deliberate, leaving us all on edge. I paced outside, replaying everything. This wasn't how I imagined family, but exposing the truth felt liberating. When we reconvened, the ruling came swift, their suit dismissed, my countersuit granted. I won compensation, enough to fix my credit and then some. But the real win? The judge ordered mandatory counseling for them and no contact if they harassed me again. Lisa's secrets were out, forcing her to face rehab. My parents looked defeated, finally realizing their actions had consequences. Walking out that door, I felt free. But wait, the story doesn't end there, the aftermath was even more telling. With the court victory in my pocket, I thought the drama was over, but nope, the real teaching moment came in the weeks after. My parents tried calling non-stop, leaving voicemails begging for forgiveness. Alex, we were desperate for Lisa. Can't we move past this, they'd say. But I ignored them, focusing on rebuilding. I used the settlement money wisely, fixed my credit, upgraded my apartment security, even started therapy to process the betrayal. It was eye-opening, learning how years of favoritism messed with my self-worth. Meanwhile, word spread like wildfire. Family gatherings? Awkward. Relatives who'd sided with them now apologized to me, sharing their own stories of being manipulated. One cousin confessed my parents borrowed money from her too, never repaying. It validated everything, I wasn't the bad guy. Lisa hit rock bottom post-trial. Her divorce finalized, but with debts exposed, she lost big in the settlement. No more enabling from mom and dad, the judge's order made sure of that. She checked into a gambling recovery program, and surprisingly, reached out to me months later. I'm sorry, Alex. I was selfish, she said in a tearful call. I forgave her, cautiously, but set boundaries, no money talks, ever. As for my parents, they faced fallout. Dad's business contacts heard about the fraud case, hurting his reputation. Mom's social circle whispered. They sold some assets to pay fines and loans back. It humbled them. Eventually, they wrote a letter, not an email, a real handwritten one, admitting fault. We were wrong to put Lisa above you. We see now how we hurt you. It was a start. I agreed to a mediated family meeting, where we laid it all out. No more secrets, no favoritism. They promised to respect my independence. I didn't fully trust yet, but it was progress. This whole ordeal taught me invaluable lessons. First, family isn't an excuse for toxicity, boundaries are crucial. Second, standing up pays off, I kept my apartment, now worth even more. Third, revenge isn't always vengeance, sometimes it's justice, exposing truths for everyone's growth. I shared snippets online anonymously, and the support was overwhelming. People messaged saying my story inspired them to say no to manipulative relatives. It turned my pain into purpose. Looking back, that lawsuit was a blessing in disguise. It forced change. Now, my relationship with Lisa is mending, we talk weekly, focusing on positives. Parents? We're civil, holidays are tentative, but better than before. I even helped Lisa job hunt, advice only, no cash. Life's calmer now. I wake up in my apartment, grateful for the fight. If you're dealing with similar family pressure, remember, your hard work is yours. Don't let guilt trips win. Fight smart, document everything, and seek help. You might just teach them the lesson they need. But hold on, the final twist in this saga is coming up. Fast forward a year, and here's where it all wraps up, the ultimate lesson taught. After the trial, I didn't gloat, I moved forward. But my parents? They tried one last desperate move. Dad showed up at my door unannounced, pleading for a loan to cover their legal bills. "Son, we're struggling because of this mess," he said. I calmly reminded him of the court order, no financial demands. He left defeated, and that was the turning point. They finally got it, no more using me as a crutch. Lisa thrived in recovery, got a steady job as a receptionist, and even started paying child support properly. Her kids visited me more, and we built real bonds without the drama. As for me, I channeled the experience into something positive. I started a blog about financial independence and family boundaries, sharing tips like how to spot manipulation and building credit after fraud. It blew up, thousands of readers, even a podcast invite. The apartment? I renovated it into my dream space, home office, gym corner, the works. Valued double now, thanks to the market. Holidays came around, and for the first time, we had an honest family dinner. No accusations, just talks about growth. Mom admitted, we were blind to our favoritism. Dad nodded, we're proud of you, Alex, truly. It wasn't perfect, but healing. The biggest win? Inner peace. No more resentment boiling inside. I learned forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means protecting yourself while allowing change. If they slip up, boundaries snap back. This story isn't unique, many face family greed. But fighting back? That's empowering. To anyone listening, document, get legal advice early, and don't fear the court, truth wins. My revenge was exposing lies, forcing accountability. They learned family support goes both ways, not just extraction. Lisa's clean now, parents retired quieter, and I'm thriving. Career promotion, new friends who value me. That apartment stands as my symbol of resilience. So, if your folks pressure you unfairly, remember my tale. Stand firm, teach the lesson, and emerge stronger. Thanks for listening to my crazy journey. If you've got similar stories, drop them in the comments. Hit like if justice served made you smile, subscribe for more real-life tales, and remember, sometimes, the best revenge is living well. Peace out.